good, takers? Welcome back to the first take. Now, as requested, like a few days ago, I did a Comicstorian complete story breakdown of Doctor Strange, just to kind of get more familiar with the characters and ask you, if you were into that, should I do more of these? And you replied, you said, yeah, you wanted to see more of this, so it's cool. So why not? So those who don't know, never saw that last video, Comicstorian, it's a YouTube channel where they grab either the origin of a certain comic book character or a particular story that was in the comic books, and they collect it together and narrate it as its own complete condensed story. So it's the easy way for new people to these stories to, digest them and get interested in the comics. So I thought it was a cool way, especially with Doctor Strange. I wasn't that familiar with Doctor Strange, even though I was a comic book fan. It wasn't one of the ones I was into, so it was interesting to see their breakdown of it and just to get to know the character a bit better. So now I'm going to do one for Deadpool, even though I am personally more familiar with Deadpool than I was with Doctor Strange. It's still going to be interesting to see what they have come up with for their origin. I want to do a bunch of these, man, especially with the Deadpool movie coming out. So let's jump into it. Deadpool Origins, Comicstorian. Let's do this.
He's Deadpool. He has dozens of variations on his origin. But what is the true origin?
Teach us.
Welcome to Origins, where we go over the origins of your favorite superheroes and villains. Today we're going to be going over the origins of Deadpool. While there are a bunch of variations to this, Marvel did release an actual origin issue for him in order to cement the origin before any movie could get to it. So let's have a look. Our story begins with a man running out of a house located in Hollywood Hills. A confused man then walks in the front door to see the infamous Merc with a mouth, sitting there holding a gun. "So tell me your pitch for the Deadpool movie," he tells the man. And the man tells him, "No, tell me your story. I'm here to listen. See if we can turn it into a movie." So where does the story of Deadpool begin? Seriously? Well, you might be sorry you asked about it. I mean, this is an origin story after all. It begins with Wade Wilson in ridiculous amounts of pain, butt naked in a tank full of water. He even has sharp needles jabbed his yin-yang and tubes up his hoo-ha. Luckily, he volunteered for this. He volunteered because it was either a painful death from stage 4 cancer or these experimental trials in Canada. But as he rose from the tank of water, all of the doctors around were shocked at his appearance. Deadpool reached up asking if he had lost his hair. Right off the bat, he looked like Hamburger, so they tested his healing factor by shooting his fingers off and then lighting him on fire. But no matter what they did, he would always heal back looking like chewed up Hamburger. So, he was considered a failure. The entire purpose of this project was to create a super spy that could heal himself back from any injury and be undetectable. But with a face that looks like it was run over by a cheese grater, how could he possibly be a spy? So they shoved him in the cells of the other failed experiments to be forgotten. But this isn't what Wade Wilson signed up for. At least cancer would have ended eventually. So he came up with a plan where he faked being ill and got a guard to come into his cell. He then murdered the guard and everyone in his way on the way out of the facility until he was finally free of this. His healing factor gave him a certain competitive edge over everyone else in the mercenary field. So he went back to doing that, and he wore a mask, just like the people in the funny books, which led him to meeting a grumpy cyborg from the future and then becoming best buds with said cyborg. And that's the story of Deadpool, he tells the Hollywood writer. But the writer then asks him, "But what were you before all of that? Who was Wade Wilson?" So Deadpool continues to explain. Wade was an idiot. He was a mercenary with a moral code. He would take jobs that he believed in instead of jobs for money. He'd go out, kill a dictator because he deserved it, and then go home to his girlfriend in Boston. His life was great until he got the news that he had cancer. So he left that life behind because he refused to become a burden on anyone in his life ever again. This eventually led him to the experimental treatments in Canada in an insane attempt to cure his cancer. And then we go to the needles in his yin-yang and etc, etc. No, Wade! I want to know about young Wade before all of this. "You're joking, right?" Deadpool says, looking at the man. "Well, alright then." And he takes a sip of his whiskey. "My dad was a real kidder. We had a routine where he would go behind the front door and knock. And then I would answer with, 'Who's there?' And he would tell me, 'Cash.' And then I would say, 'Cash who?' And he would tell me that he always knew I was a nut. But then one day, he slipped behind the door and never came back. I would do our knock-knock game just to see if he would reappear, but he never did. After my dad left, my mother tried to ease the pain with booze and ordering junk from cable. She joked about everything, even the crippling debt that she had racked up. I blamed myself, and I told myself that she would be fine if she didn't have to worry about me. So I left. I signed up for the only thing that young broke Americans could do, the military, which led me to becoming a mercenary and then Deadpool. Every time I was confronted with a horrible situation, I saw only two reactions that I could take, laughter or tears. And laughter always seemed like the better cure. The movie writer looked at Deadpool and he told him that they are going to make an amazing movie. 35 months later, Deadpool went to his own movie premiere, but it wasn't exactly what he was expecting. After countless explosions and a little Celine Dion, Deadpool had had enough, and he walked outside and blew up the writer's car. Then, he decided to do one more thing that he had never worked up the courage to do. You see, the movie writer had asked him why he didn't look into his dad, why he never looked for him, and he told him he didn't want to bother. But that was a lie. He had dug up the address long ago. So, he walked up to the door at a lonely house in the middle of nowhere, and he knocked. An old man answered asking, "Who's there?" And Deadpool told him, "Wade. Wade who? Wait till you see what happened to me, Dad." And that's the end of Deadpool's origin. Now, I know there's a lot of different conflicting views into what happened with that afterwards, but this is the one that they just recently re-released, so I hope you guys enjoy that. If you are looking for the variations, there's one where he ended up killing his own family, there's one where he married a woman and had a daughter, there's a whole bunch of different things that seemingly happened to him, and maybe they all do fit in here somewhere, but this is the one that they put out. I'm Ben the Comicstorian, and I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time right here.
Man, that was cool. I like that. That was way more heartfelt than I expected it was gonna be, you know. What I'm really curious to see is how they adapt this for the film. Whether he's still gonna be a mercenary beforehand, before he gets cancer and puts himself into this program voluntarily, the Weapon X program, or whether he's just a regular soldier or just a regular guy. It's interesting. The cool thing about it, like I said, there's no spoilers here, not really. You know, it's only really showing you the beginnings of it. It doesn't really get into where the movie's gonna go. So I'm curious to see where the movie version of Deadpool fits into the bigger X-Men universe. They said that it is all taking place in the same world, so how's it all gonna fit and click? I just can't wait. But I love the way that even just his origin breaks the fourth wall where he's at his own movie premiere. I love that. What do you guys think? You looking forward to this even more? And do you want me to do more Comicstorian origins or complete stories? Let me know. Write comments down below. If you like the video, please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. And the reasons to be my first take. Deadpool, Comicstorian's Deadpool Origins. Yeah.